This is Todd Trichler, and I'm here with my guest, Anton Nielsen. And Anton, first of all, congratulations on being selected as a finalist in the ORDS category. So Oracle REST Data Services.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it. It was really an honor to be nominated with such great cohorts.
Excellent. Yeah. So you were nominated in the Oracle Database Developer Choice Awards. And the neat thing about that is not only were you nominated by the community, but then you also kind of passed a panel of your peers or experts in the in that area. And you know, we even had Chris Rice, the dev manager, sitting on the board. So you obviously know your stuff about this. And I personally can attest to that because I've seen how you give back to the community. I had the privilege of actually sitting in on your Internet of Things talk, hands-on workshop that you did at Kscope.
That's a fun workshop. Yeah, definitely.
And that was absolutely fun. I've yet to speak to somebody that hasn't raved about it. You know, and maybe you can just talk a little bit about it. I mean, you used Apex in it, you used ORDS in it, you had a little micro device that people were able to configure, and it all went through, stored in a database through the cloud.
Well, that's really it. The Internet of Things is really about data and lots of data. And ORDS is an amazing tool to quickly be able to gather that data from an Internet of Things device, whether it be your Nest thermostat, whether your lights are on or off, if your car is close to home, or for example, behind me, we've got devices that interact with engine controls on airplanes. You're able to report all that data back, and ORDS can really quickly allow you to grab that data, put it in an Oracle database, and then, you know, with an Apex application, in no time, you can report on it. And that's exactly what we did in the class. We built a device like that in 1 hour. 1 hour, everybody in the class got to literally wire up a device, create an ORDS service, create an Apex database, and have it run over the internet.
It was excellent. I mean, and what I loved about it is you guys did a really good job of laying it out clearly. I mean, I hadn't had a chance to play with Apex 5 by that point, and that was my first introduction in terms of playing with the new version. And it was clear, you know, walked you through everything, the new page layout editor, and just, you know, able to complete it. I loved the hands-on workshop. So now on the Internet of Things, you know, being able to collect data and that, you're also doing a free service, the Build Something Hub. I'm very interested in that. It's exactly what do you envision with that?
Well, it's meant to be a platform for people to be able to easily send data to a service and then report on it. So what we've done is we've got some REST APIs that are pre-published that users can call those APIs to put data into a database, and then an Apex application to essentially report on it, configure and report that data, and then share it with other people. We're in beta right now with that. We plan to come out with it live very shortly. It's an internal self-funded project, so it's one of those things that comes as we get it done. But we're very close at this point. We've got users testing it. We're literally testing it with the data that's coming off these two machines behind me. So it's up and running, and we're really excited about getting it out there as a way for people to be able to just really play. The Build Something Hub isn't meant to make money. It's not, you know, we don't ever expect it to be something that somebody puts in their production environment. It's a platform to play and to have fun.
Excellent.
And I'll just say the name, the Build Something Hub, you know, harkens back to, we're based in the Boston area, which of course is the hub of the universe.
Oh, okay. I see. I actually saw on your website you had a whole bunch of pictures about your dog with the cone of shame or the cone of happiness. Your daughters are very creative, I must say.
Thank you.
And also a very nice tribute to the Boston Marathon, actually. Very, very nicely done. I appreciated that.
I'll put a plug in for the Boston Marathon and the Dana-Farber Association as well. My brother-in-law has run the marathon 8 years in a row for cancer research, and it's a great event, and certainly Boston hangs together closely when it comes to the Boston Marathon.
Awesome. So yeah, community is just huge. It's important, and doing activities like this really builds it out. Some something that I'm always interested in is you get guys like yourself that, you know, obviously very, very well skilled, you know, you've got a very strong background, deep technology experience. But the difference that I notice is that, you know, there's actually quite a few people that have those qualities. What makes a huge difference is when those people start contributing back to the community, like yourself. But to do that, a lot of times you do need that experience. How did you get into it? Did you always want to be, you know, a technologist and a consultant and, you know, high-end Oracle, you know, send me in, I'll paratroop in and, you know, fix your problem?
Well, no, I actually, I'm a mathematician by training, and early on I was thinking perhaps astronaut, something like that, something exciting. I was in the Air Force and actually was a scientist in the Air Force. For a number of years.
They really did drop you in by parachute.
No parachuting, but I did work in research in the aerospace industry, rockets, missiles, those kinds of things. And then absolute reality, I had a son, and I realized, wow, I want to be a great parent, and I want to be around for my kids. And so I took the same kind of scientific approach that I was using in that track, and said, let's do something that's more in in the civilian realm, and really that was what led me to Oracle. I had done work as a user of Oracle on the scientific side, putting data in and out, and found it to be a very rewarding experience, and moved into that direction. I went to work for Oracle after I left the Air Force. I was at Oracle for about a decade. And enjoyed it, and been using the technology, you know, ever since.
So, some of your favorite tools. I mean, obviously, I saw that you've done everything in terms of languages and development frameworks. What are some of the favorite ones that you've worked with over the past years in that?
Well, the reality is there were some great tool sets that I used early on when I was in the military, and other tool sets, but moving into the Oracle space, I've really been steeped in the Oracle technologies for the last 20 years, and the Oracle technologies that I've used across the board have generally been very good. I mean, I had great luck with Discoverer early on. You know, the Oracle Designer product I thought was fabulous. I contributed to Oracle Designer for many years, and as those things have progressed, the Oracle Java frameworks are also great. But the reality is, at this point, ORDS and Apex is where we find most, really fulfilling to use. We're able to very rapidly meet customer needs without a lot of overhead. And for us, it's really about delivering value quickly to an enterprise. Generally speaking, an enterprise is extremely well served by Apex and ORDS. And while we do certainly do use other technologies and continue to do that for specific scenarios, at this point, Apex and ORDS is our go-to tool set. And of course, all the features of the Oracle database. I mean, that goes without saying, I think, is that the Oracle database itself has just an incredible wealth of capability that's really it's just exposed through Apex. So Apex is just that, a window into the Oracle database and all of its vast features.
Excellent. So obviously with 20 years of experience plus in consulting and, you know, high-end mission critical rocket scientists and, you know, several other environments, which I'm sure needed, you know, secure black card type, you know, ops, security clearance. You could have chosen, you know, several applications. Why ORDS? Why Apex?
Well, Apex and ORDS allow us to very rapidly move from our vision to the reality of it. We can rapidly demonstrate the capability of the products that we're building. And from a team perspective, it allows us to very quickly operate as a team. The cloud-based development aspect of Apex, whether you're literally in the cloud at the Apex Oracle Cloud, or you're running your own essentially private cloud running the Oracle database in Apex, allows you to very rapidly spin up a team and have a disparate team of experts from all over the world working together. There are challenges with Apex. with a large team, but the challenges, there are challenges with any environment. Those challenges are offset by the advantages. The advantage is to immediately see something between team members rather than have to go through a deployment cycle is incredible. And really, Apex provides an easy installation to the final customer. And so those are the basic reasons that we've gone with Apex and ORDS.
So obviously, Anton, you've had, years of experience, and a lot of that in either, military or government or sensitive type applications, mission critical. What are some of the more interesting ones that you've worked with? And specifically, I'm interested in, Apex. Sometimes people have said, okay, it's really good for replacing Excel and Access, and it is, but that's really all you want to do with it. It's not really good for, say, mission critical work, whereas you're in a unique position to basically address that question. How do you feel about that?
Oh, we absolutely use Apex for mission critical work, for large data center applications, large user populations, and large data sets. And there are different ways to look at enterprise applications. But a couple that come to mind, we have applications that, respond real time to users hooked up to medical devices, users having medical treatments. And Apex applications and the Oracle database are able to, in real time, monitor those patients and report on their current status, as well as be able to do reporting on it and do diagnostics later, and really improve the health of individual patients, but also look across patient populations and be able to improve, hopefully, the health of Americans across the board. So that's really fulfilling to be able to be involved in a project that's both helping people in the moment, but also has the potential to gather lots of data and improve treatment overall.
Well, that's pretty sensitive stuff, isn't it? Because I was speaking to Karen earlier, and she was mentioning, the being audits and the health restriction, the healthcare like HIPAA and stuff like that.
Right.
Are you guys are obviously having to take that account, and Apex handles all of that? You can work
absolutely without a doubt. We work in healthcare and health insurance related environments every day. And Apex is a go-to tool for us. Like any tool, you have to be careful. You have to do things the right way. You have to be concerned about security. But Apex absolutely meets those requirements. We're working with another pharmaceutical right now where we're implementing Data Vault as well. And I mean, that's when you're getting into Data Vault, you're talking some serious things. And we're using Apex with Data Vault to handle some of those requirements. And actually, we're really excited about that kind of thing. Apex integrates so nicely with the Oracle database. And as I said earlier, the Oracle database has this huge wealth of features to handle exactly the kinds of things we're talking about.
So you're talking about like using Key Vault as well, and right. Being able, wow, okay. So yeah. You're going the full 9 yards and then some.
Right, exactly. So those are exciting kinds of things. They're meaningful from a technical, interest perspective, but also from a perspective that, like I said, we really do. It's a little cliche, but we like to do good work. We like to be involved in projects that are, that we can come home and think, wow, I'm really helping the world. So it's fun to have that. We also work in large data centers where we have big user populations that are really doing the day-to-day mission critical work of organizations. We work with Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare. Their whole call center runs on Apex applications. If you make a phone call into Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare, you get a screen pop from their integrated voice recognition system. You get a screen pop to an Apex application. It pops with your information, and the call rep interacts all day long through that Apex application. And that Apex application reaches out to a number of other systems within their enterprise to consolidate data into an integrated view for that phone rep, so that when you call, they have your claims information, they have your previous interactions with them, they have your correspondence history, all right there in front of them through an Apex application, all day long.
Well, and because it's all running on top of the database, you can lock down those financial records and everything else, and claim records and every.
And you can make use of data masking. You can all those kinds of things that just come native with the database.
Excellent. I'm always interested in content or projects that help young developers get started. And I love the fact that at Kscope, you had your son up there, helping get people up and started. And I know your daughter did the soldering on the boards to prepare the little kits for the attendees.
But my daughter was 12, and she was out there soldering up all the circuit boards. So she's actually really into it. She's out helping all the time. So.
Well, and on that note, for guys getting started, if I was a young developer and I'm like, well, I think I might like this stuff, what would your advice be? I mean, how would you direct them? What technologies would you say, hey, focus on this? What's a good way of getting into it?
Well, that's one of the beauties, really, of apex.oracle.com. With no investment, essentially, you need a Chromebook. You can go out and you can get an account on apex.oracle.com, and you can run through the Apex lessons, and it gives you an easy introduction to really the foundations of the internet, which are data in and data out, and that's really what it is. So SQL is going to continue to be the foundation for many years to come. You've got big data, you've got other kinds of things, you've got other data stores, but right now and for a little long into the future, SQL is a key component. And Apex gives you that introduction to it right away. It lets you build something within minutes without knowing any SQL, but it introduces you to the need for it and the ability to use it. So I think my initial recommendation would be to do just that. Go out to apex.oracle.com. So apex.oracle.com and the associated documentation is a great way to start. In addition to other really low-cost ways to get involved in the industry, Oracle, the XE database is another place where you can, at no cost, get involved very quickly. I think the Oracle certification program does a good job of walking people through as well, understanding the kinds of things that are going to be of interest to them. The Oracle community is really active, really a great place to be. I would recommend that anybody that's interested in getting a look at this join some of the Oracle Apex discussion forums. They're very helpful. You can just ask a question. Where do I get started? And you'll get people like me and other folks just giving you all kinds of input on good places to start, good references.
Excellent. So Apex, start out with Apex. That's great. And then once they learn the need for SQL, they can actually even use Mike Hitch's new Live SQL and play around with it in a browser.
That's right.
That's Anton, I just wanted to say thank you for all of your contributions. Thank you for just all of the work that you've done and the way you give back to the community. And congratulations on being selected as a finalist in the ORDS category for the Devvys, for the Oracle Database Developer Choice Awards. So very well deserved there.
Thank you very much.
So Anton, you've mentioned how you love Apex because it's basically a window into the database, and then you've got all these great features in the database that you can leverage and use. 12c, flagship database, is there any really good features that you're using a lot or that you're really interested in exercising?
Yeah, it's interesting. When Oracle first announced the new multi-tenant features of the database, I was a skeptic. But it turns out to be a feature that we're using a lot and we really like. So the 12c multi-tenant allows you to quickly clone a pluggable database and move it around. But it also allows for really separate installations of data. And when it comes to some of the clients that we have that have real security needs, the pluggable architecture has really been able to help us out in that regard to really define a separate space for their data in it's backed up separately. It's treated as separate kind of data. We have different encryption requirements for it. We might have data vault in one and not in the other. So real separation of data. So I'm a convert. I started out as a skeptic, but I'm also a convert. The other thing that we use it for internally from a development perspective is from a build and test and deploy perspective. We have utility that clones a gold copy of a database every night, installs the new code into that pluggable database, and runs some Selenium test scripts against it. And we're able to keep 7 pluggables always live and go back and look at them. We delete one, we bring up the next one, and that way we have a history of what we've done for the last week in a pluggable database. And we can unplug it, put it on the shelf, and if we ever need to go back to it, we can. But we've really found it to be a quick way to help in our own development, test, and deployment strategy.
Rotating test and Q&A, nice.
Yeah.
And the whole sandbox aspect of it is once again must play really well in your security space for those professionally paranoid customers.
That's right. That's exactly that's exactly the right term. Everybody's paranoid. You can do many of the same things without a pluggable, but by making it a pluggable, the questions just all go away. So
yeah, of course you might not really be paranoid if they're really out to get you.
Yeah, well, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean you're not being followed.
Yes. Great. Well, Anton, thanks again just for sharing your wealth of knowledge with us. I super appreciate it.
Great. Thank you. Have a good day.